welcome back to the 10th level of hell for investors. Today we're going to have a look at another cannabis stock. Today it's going to be Tilray Brands Inc. Now, cannabis stocks are becoming quite popular again as various countries around the world look to legalize the marijuana cannabis industry. So what we're going to do is our usual SWOT analysis, which is the strength of the company, the weakness of the company, the opportunities of the market that it's in, and the threats the market hold towards this company. We use this as a way of kind of working out whether the stock is actually worth investing in as a retail investor. Now, Tilray is one of the market leaders in the cannabis market. It produces foods, drinks, beverages, as well as medical products, all based around cannabis and hemp-based foods. There's 20 brands roughly under the Tilray main brand, and this produces all sorts of indicas, sativas, hybrids, CBD-rich varieties of medical cannabis, which are mainly consumed in the States, Canada, but slowly starting to become bigger and bigger around the world. Even in the UK you can get CBD tinctures, which are little drops that you can pour into your mouth when you need them for whatever reason. It's quite a big company, has very strong growth, and it has quite a good, I would say, quite a good financial stable financial record. I think that's probably the best way of putting it, given my cold that I've got at the moment. It's a very big multinational. Again, it's another one of these ones that's kind of has links to Canadian growers. The company itself is headquartered in New York City. Has well over 1,000 employees. I think that once you get to a certain size, I think the whole company becomes quite stable, and definitely worth looking at. Most of the research that you'll find around Tilray involves mergers and conglomerates with other growers and cannabis researchers around the world. This is quite common in the cannabis industry. It tends to be one of these industries which is relatively new, despite the fact that people have been growing cannabis since the dawn of time. But as an actual industry, we're seeing a lot of companies buying each other out, as the finances are quite volatile, given that everybody's waiting for everybody to work out what they want to do legally at a governmental level. There's been a lot of talk recently of Germany basically legalizing cannabis quite fully. This has seen quite a large increase in share value across most brands, I think. I haven't seen any brands that have actually gone down. Tilray didn't jump up through the roof that much, but that's only because it's already quite a well established brand out there, and already has a significant amount of investment in it. The downside, I think it's the size of the company, is it tends to be more of a research company than a grower. Whereas a lot of companies, you're actually investing in something which has a core of manufacturing and growing. Tilray is so well spread out that it's able to buy from the wider market. I think that's the thing that would make that company itself weak, but it's not a huge problem. I think it's most of it is clinical and medical, and could see a lot of growth off the back of that. I think the Tilray brand isn't that well known outside of the cannabis related community, and I think a lot of the products aren't that well known to the public, or those that actually kind of buy the products. I think there are companies like Aurora, which are obviously much more famous, even though their stock prices are infinitely worse off, and the market value is completely different. I think Tilray basically concentrates more on actually doing other things rather than selling itself. Now, with the obvious shitstorm of the world market at the moment, these brands have a interesting place where they can be. Most cannabis places do. the whole market, as far as I'm concerned, should be seen as like a brewer's market. So you're looking at brewery companies essentially, rather than actual kind of medical therapy companies or farming companies that produce food stocks or various merchandise or anything like that. Essentially, that's a huge opportunity for it to grow into becoming a world in which people are able to kind of buy these narcotics in whatever kind of derivative version that you want to talk about it, whether you want to talk about it as tinctures, whether you want to talk about it as hemp. I think that's a huge market that's opening up worldwide as more politicians get more comfortable with grabbing hold of the opportunity to go with this. I also think that the tax demands on every other product have reached a limit, and I think bringing this stuff out from the cold will hugely increase governmental revenues, essentially, which can be used for other things rather than just leave them in criminal hands. So all cannabis related companies are in a great position at the moment, but can Tilray take advantage of that? It really depends. It's despite the fact that it's got quite a large spread around the world, and it's in a relatively good position to be able to move into the market, it's concentrating so much on the medical stuff. So therapies for alcoholics, therapies for various stress-related conditions, I think will overall, I think the market will push against that as other companies that produce cannabis related products decide to go down the fun leisure arena. Doesn't mean that the profit's going to be overwhelmingly destroyed or replaced, but I think there'll be a significant pushback, and it will isolate Tilray into a particular bubble that might go against future profits. Now, one of my big problems with most companies that are in any kind of medical or tech related industries is the lack of dividends. When you're investing in these companies, you're only investing in them for simple value in that stock. That's why all these stocks have been hit so hard over the past 18 months by everything that's gone on in the world. I don't agree with that personally. I think if you're buying a share of the company, you should automatically be given a dividend. That would probably push out a lot of the kind of comedians from the market, and I think with that respect, I don't think Tilray would actually become a comedian. I think that if it were to start producing dividends, if there was some profit share with the rest of us, that the company would have so much more respect, that investment would increase, and they would be able to grab hold of a bit more of the market share. Obviously, none of that's going to take place while the world economy is as bad as it is, and none of that's going to take place while the cannabis industry itself is just floating around out there as a kind of like, oh, we don't like it, but it could be something better type of thing. Now, I do want to see value-related investments increase, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So, when we look at Tilray, when we look at what's possible that it can become, it is entirely market dependent as to how it's accepted and how it's able to grow. It can try and push itself as much as it wants. That's how business works. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the rest of us are going to go out there and invest in it. Now, if you are investing in it, looking at share price, it is relatively stable compared to most companies, and it's doesn't look like it's massively affected by debts or anything like that, whereas a lot of cannabis related industries, the companies within the industry are genuinely having problems at the moment. Mainly that's with the not knowing what's going to happen. So if Germany legalizes it, if the rest of Europe legalizes it, then I can see things improving going forward. But it's up to you. As always, it's down to you to decide how you want to invest. So join me next time for the next video. Thank you.